started eating a lot of corn products, and I realized that wasn't the healthiest way to get my carbohydrates. So I did some research to figure out which of the corn products were the healthiest, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. Corn in a can. I generally don't even like the taste of this. I just feel like it tastes like it's already starting to go bad. It doesn't taste as fresh. But the problem that I have with the canned corn is that since it's in a can, you may be ingesting some of the BPA from the lining. The BPA leaches into the food product of whatever's in the can. And it's hard to know exactly how much BPA that we're ingesting. I suppose nobody really knows. They've done research, but we don't really know. We just know that we're getting some amount of BPA when we eat canned products, unless it says on the can made with a BPA-free lining. Oh, well actually, it says non-BPA, and I just finally found that. It's really hard to spot on the can. You have to search the entire can over and over until you find the little tiny print that says non-BPA lining, or something about BPA not being in the lining of the can. I chose this because it's non-GMO, and 92% of the corn that is grown in the U.S. is genetically modified. So only 8% of what is grown, this is in the U.S. Elsewhere it's much less. It's only like 30-40% genetically modified in other parts of the world, but in the U.S. it's around 90%. So a teeny tiny percentage of what you can find out there at the grocery store will be non-GMO. Now, why do we care about genetically modified foods? Back in about the year 2000, so that was 17 years ago, it was a while ago, but in 2000 there was a recall on some new genetically modified corn that happened to have a certain type of protein in there that would potentially cause allergies in humans and difficulties digesting that specific type of genetically modified corn. So I think that's what started the whole craze about not choosing genetically modified foods. And it is a little bit scary, because I suppose if a food is genetically modified, how well do we know that it's not altering something in our intestinal tract, or it's not causing some sort of food sensitivity, or it's not causing some small little tiny difficulty breaking down in the intestinal tract. So I guess there's a lot of unknowns about genetically modified corn. There was one research study done that was comparing non-GM corn to GM corn, and genetically modified corn had many fewer B vitamins than the non-genetically modified B vitamins. So basically what it's saying is that the nutrient profile is changed when a plant or corn is genetically modified. And so that's pretty much all I care about when it comes to genetically modified foods, is that most likely they're going to have fewer nutrients. Over a long period of time, if you're ingesting foods that have many fewer nutrients than other foods, it's not going to support optimal hormone function, it's not going to support normal body metabolism, and over time can lead to impaired metabolic functions, potentially. BPA in the thyroid. BPA has been shown to decrease free T3. And that's really that's the main reason that I care so much about BPA. Many people out there have a hard time getting their free T3 levels high enough to get their symptoms low enough. So BPA, if that's just one thing that disrupts endocrine function and potentially lowers your free T3, why not do everything you can to choose foods that do not contain BPA? I have some frozen corn. I prefer the frozen corn. I prefer the taste of it. I just feel like it hasn't been sitting in the can. It just tastes fresher. I like all frozen corn out there is going to be genetically modified. I searched the grocery store and could not find one that wasn't genetically modified. I prefer to get organic frozen corn, but guess what the price was? The price was about, the price was $3.50 for, I think, a 12-ounce bag of frozen organic corn for non-organic corn, this one's 14.4 ounces, and I think this was like $1 or less than $1 for a bag of frozen corn like this. So, I mean, the price is a little, okay, $3 is not outrageous, but $3.50 compared to $1 is just a little crazy to me. But that's, I mean, it's hard to get organic corn. Trying to find something that's organic and not genetically modified is hard, and it's going to be expensive, or much more expensive than the dollar corn. So this is mostly what you get at the store, and you know, I feel like in moderation, if you're consuming frozen corn like this, you don't have to worry about the lining of the can. Next, we have my favorite, which are organic blue corn tortilla chips. You can get some sort of organic blue corn tortilla chip at most every grocery store. I haven't been to a grocery store where I haven't been able to find the organic blue corn tortilla chips. They may be repackaged like into some other brand. This is just store brand. I've seen most store brands selling the organic blue chips, and the price is pretty reasonable for what you get. The ingredients are ground organic blue corn, organic vegetable oil, which is usually some sort of sunflower or safflower oil, and then sea salt. Sunflower or safflower oil, I'm fine with that in moderation. Sunflower and safflower oil do contain some omega-6 fats, which I try to limit and try to get more of the omega-3 fats, of course, to help reduce inflammation. But it's not too bad. When you use pure corn oil in a product, then you're getting a lot of omega-6 fats and even more polyunsaturated fats. All the omega-6 fats are a little bit inflammatory, and it's important to try to increase the ratio of our omega-3s to omega-6s. So the more omega-3s that you have to omega-6s, it will be more anti-inflammatory. The more omega-6s that you have to omega-3s, that will be more inflammatory. So that's just a side note about corn oil. I really hate corn oil because I feel like it's just pure inflammation, and I try to avoid most pure vegetable oils like that and only use like avocado oil, olive oil, maybe a little bit of, we don't use a ton of coconut oil, but that's a healthier option if you have it. Just for comparison, I also have the Walmart brand of just white corn tortilla chips. Nothing crazy, it's just like the standard white corn tortilla chips. I really die a little bit inside when we buy these, and it does contain some corn oil in this particular chip, so that's, like I said, a little more inflammatory, not one of the oils that I like. And then it has the sunflower, safflower, or possibly canola oil, and then salt. Not the worst thing in the world, but this is an option that's readily available, and I feel like why not buy this compared to this. I think this is like $1 for this bag of chips maybe, and then this is probably, I think I paid $2.50 for this bag of chips, and they're both about the same size. Very close. Next we have, I'm going to talk a little bit about popcorn. So this is just like standard Orville Redenbacher popcorn. It's going to be genetically modified. In moderation, I feel like this is fine. You could make this a little bit of a healthier snack by cooking this popcorn yourself in a healthier oil, maybe like avocado oil or coconut oil. I've tried out coconut oil making popcorn, and it turns out really well. There are a ton of other popcorn products out there. A lot of the popular brands, like the Boom Chicka Pop and Angie's and Smart Pop, I believe most of those are non-GMO. They are not organic, and you have to just double check the ingredient list in some of those specialty popcorns. They may add some sugar, they may add some other ingredients that you may just want to take a look at and decide if it's a healthy option for you or not. I like to choose the pre-popped organic store brand popcorn of any type. I know that Annie's, they make an organic pre-popped popcorn. Annie's is the company, they make the little bunny pasta and like the bunny crackers and stuff. They make a popcorn that's organic. It's pre-popped. So that's just one that I know of. Real quick, let's talk about pesticide residue on corn products that we eat. So I think a lot of people are just scared about the pesticide residue on corn when they eat it. Like, for example, fresh corn on the cob. We just ate some the other day. It wasn't organic, nothing fancy, just corn on the cob. And I know a lot of people are just so worried about glyphosate residue, which, if you haven't heard of it before, glyphosate is basically Roundup. That's just the chemical name for it. The interesting thing though is that most of the time we're finding that the glyphosate residue on corn, by the time we go to eat it, is fairly low. It's not, to me, it's not too big of a concern. However, there's not a lot of research out there. Currently, I know they just started research last year on trying to research how much glyphosate is left on the corn that we eat. They're trying to do a better job of researching it. Just started last year, so maybe, who knows, in a couple years we'll find out much more information that will help guide us of, you know, should we be buying the organic corn versus non-organic. I'm much more worried about glyphosate residue on other foods, and those two would be soy and honey. The glyphosate residues are still pretty high on those foods. Why do I care about the pesticide residue? Why do I care? It's well known to be an endocrine disruptor, and anything that disrupts the endocrine system is going to disrupt thyroid hormone. Another question that I often get is, well, what about, I heard there's formaldehyde in corn. Okay, this one I don't worry about at all, mostly just because formaldehyde is naturally occurring in a lot of the foods that we eat, a lot of the healthy foods that we eat even. So formaldehyde is a problem if you breathe it in. That's where it's a huge problem. And yes, formaldehyde does damage the thyroid. It is known to damage the thyroid. But when it's naturally occurring like it is in a lot of, even like I said, the healthy foods that we eat, I wouldn't stop eating another healthy food that produces formaldehyde for that reason. It's like ingesting it, not a huge issue, but inhaling it, big issue. And if you think that you're not eating a lot of corn, you might want to think again, because corn, we can't forget about corn syrup. Corn syrup is in so many packaged products out there. You just want to be mindful about it. Like, if you're thinking, okay, I'm not consuming any of these grainy, corn products. Well, check your fridge. I just looked in my fridge and I was like, what do I have that has corn syrup that I can show you all? And I found the ketchup. So I love ketchup, and I like to put, well, I used to use it a lot. I used to use it a lot with eggs, and sometimes I would buy the organic ketchup. But today I have just standard Heinz ketchup. So check your fridge, check your pantry, check and just see what other foods you have that you forgot about that might have corn syrup in them, because then it will help you get a better idea how much total corn you're consuming. That's what I did when I started going gluten-free, is after I realized, oh my gosh, I'm eating all this corn and I'm getting all my carbohydrates from corn. That's definitely not the healthiest way to go. I should be eating more sweet potato, more winter squash, more starchy veggies, and not so much corn. I'm just reminding you that corn is everywhere. And so if you think you're not eating a lot, just reevaluate and see how much corn you're truly eating, and try to have more of a moderation approach with your intake of corn. And let me know what your favorite type of corn is. Mine are the blue chips, or your most hated corn products, because I like to hate on corn products, even though after I think about it, I'm like, okay, it's really not that bad.